Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be comparing my 2019 favorites with my 2018 favorites. If that idea sounds familiar, it's because Samantha Ravindal recently posted the exact same video. To give myself some modicum of credit, I did have the idea independently from her, but she beat me to the punch. So I am going to shine a little light on her video as well and link it in the description box down below. Definitely be sure to check her video out. So let's just dive straight into it because I think this is going to be a particularly long video. I give credit to people like Michelle Wong who can choose one ultimate favorite for the most part, but I cannot. So I have multiple favorites in multiple categories. We have a lot of products to get through, so we're going to start with primer. So in 2018, my favorite primer was the Becca Blurring Perfecting Velvet Primer, whatever the hell it's called. It has a huge long name. I still really like that product, but I have two others that have kind of edged ahead of that one. So first up is the Illamasqua Hydra Veil. Now this is like a jelly consistency, and it comes with like a little scoop that you can use to pick it out. But what I really like about this is that it just feels like skincare. Like it feels like I'm applying a moisturizer to my face, but it does help to just create that really even canvas for foundation to go on top of. But it's nice and light. It makes my skin feel really hydrated, really soft, and it's very breathable. So I don't find this to be a really heavy foundation. There's no silicone feel to it. And overall, I just really like the way that it applies and the way that it makes my skin feel. The second primer that I want to talk about is the Tatcha Silk Canvas. Now this one was a little bit of a slow burn for me because when I first tried it, the first few times, I didn't really see what all the fuss was about. But the more I used it, the more I really began to like it and appreciate it. And it has become a favorite of mine. It, first of all, smells delightful. Secondly, it is one of those primers that I can use with or without foundation on top. It has a very slight blurring effect to it, but enough so that it just sort of masks any minor imperfections that I have going on and just makes my skin look that much smoother. So I really do like this one. I kind of regret just buying the mini, although the first few times I was like, I'm really glad I bought the mini. But I think this is one that I'm going to be repurchasing when I'm through with this mini. I had three favorite foundations last year. There was the Rimmel Lasting Finish Breathable Foundation, the Dior Backstage Foundation, and the Shu Uemura Light Bulb Foundation. I still stand behind the Rimmel and the Dior. The Shu Uemura, after a while, I just found that it was just a little bit too slippery on my skin. And I don't have oily skin, but it just felt like that's what I imagine foundation feels like for people who do have oily skin. Like it just, after a few hours, no longer looked all that good on my skin and it started to get a little bit sort of separated and blotchy. So I don't necessarily dislike the Shu Uemura, but it's definitely not a favorite anymore. In fact, I have two favorites that have edged ahead of even the Rimmel and the Dior Backstage. So one is the Dior Air Flash. I have to thank Britt Clark for this one because she told me how amazing it is and I got it and she's not wrong. So this is that aerosolized one that, I mean, at first I was like, I don't understand, like if I do this, it's gonna be everywhere, but that's because I'm an idiot. You don't do it like this. I spray it onto a brush and then just apply it and sort of stipple it and blend it over my face. I really like this one because it has sort of light to medium, it's sort of buildable coverage. I can't say that you would ever get to really full coverage with this, but certainly you could build it up to medium. The other thing that I really like about this foundation is that it just lasts. Like it just lasts all day. It never looks cakey on my skin, it never looks heavy, but it just, I can still see it there at the end of the day. The coverage is still there. I find it incredibly easy to use. Like I said, I just spray it a couple sprays on a brush. I usually have to do it about 3 times to cover my entire face. It dries nice and quickly, but it just looks like skin. So I really do like it. The only thing I don't like about it is that it's like $86, but thankfully they sell it on the Shoppers Drug Mart online beauty boutique, so it's something that I initially purchased with points, and I would repurchase it using points as well. The second foundation I have talked about before, but it is Stellar's Limitless Foundation. So good. Like full stop. It's so good. I have it in the shade SO1, and this is a liquid foundation, comes with a pump, it has like a nice acrylic case, it's quite lightweight, but this is one of those foundations that I love to wear to work. I know that 8-10 hours after I put it on, it's still gonna look fantastic. It doesn't separate on my skin, it doesn't bunch up in any fine lines that I have going on, it doesn't oxidize, it doesn't look heavy. Again, it's just one of those really nice, breathable sort of foundations that just provides the right amount of coverage for me. It's sort of a medium kind of coverage, definitely not full coverage, although the more you layer it up, obviously it's going to build. It's not dewy, it's not matte, it's sort of like right there in the middle, and I really like that because it just looks natural. This is one of those foundations that when I wear it, it doesn't look like I'm wearing makeup, and in my mind, that's sort of like an ideal foundation, because I don't want people to be like, wow, that's a really nice foundation you're wearing. I want them to be like, wow, your face is really nice. You know what I mean? Just be like, hey, you've got nice skin. Yeah, that's because of makeup. So this one gets that done. In 2018, my favorite concealer was the Jouer Essential High Coverage Concealer. And while I still do like that one, this one has come along and taken the top spot. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Longwear Concealer, and I have it in the shade 125 Light Natural. This is like the perfect concealer for me. I love it. I rave about it all the time. I am not that person who buys backups of makeup. I have a backup of this, and one liquid liner that we're going to talk about, but I have a backup of this because it's just so stinking good. I honestly think, and I probably won't, so don't hold me to this, but I really think that I could stop trying concealer formulas now because of this one. I just don't see room for improvement over it. So let me tell you what I like about it. What I enjoy is that it is full coverage. I have very dark circles. If you've seen any of my Get Ready With Me videos, you've seen that. I have just naturally occurring very dark circles. Both of my kids have it, unfortunately for them. Sucks to be them, but it's just some sort of genetic quirk of us. That's what I bring to the table. I bring gap teeth and dark circles to the table. That's my doing. But I need full coverage. I can't get away with light coverage concealer. It just doesn't do anything for me. So this one gets it done. It's also hydrating in a way. It never gets crepey. My under eyes never feel dry. They never look dried out. This offers just enough nourishment under the eyes to make them look 8 hours on as they do right now after a fresh application, and I love that. I also love that it is so long wearing. Some concealers that I've tried, you put them on in the morning, and then when I come home from work at night, I'm like, where the hell did my concealer go? Where did it go? I don't like to leave the house without concealer, so the idea of leaving the house with a concealer that's just gonna evaporate 4 hours down the road is not appealing. I want to know that once I put it on, it's gonna be on there until I take it off. And this accomplishes that goal. My favorite setting powder in 2018 is the same as it is in 2019, and that is the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. I haven't come across any other setting powders that I enjoy more than this. This is still the same container. This lasts forever. I have been using other powders. Just full disclosure, I haven't just been using this all year and it's lasted that long. But it does last a very long time because you really don't need a lot. But I really love it, especially for setting under my eyes because it doesn't dry anything out. And again, it doesn't end up looking cakey. Excuse me. So this is just a staple in my collection, and although I have tried other powders throughout the year, and there are some that I have enjoyed, and I don't necessarily think they're bad powders, if we're just looking at favorites, this rises to the top. Moving on to contour powders, my favorite from last year was the Cali Contour Kit from Smashbox, and it is still a top favorite. In particular, the contour shade. I've got quite the dip going on in there. I do like the bronzer and the blush as well. I don't get a ton of use out of these, but if you do like a subtle highlight, these are definitely subtle. They still show up, but they're not like wham in your face. But this contour shade is just perfection as far as I'm concerned. This year though, I do have a second favorite, and that goes to the Charlotte Tilbury Contour Wand. And again, this is another product that I've talked about ad nauseum. It is obviously a liquid contour product, but I really do like it because although it applies really dark, it blends out effortlessly. And again, it just has that natural sort of contour shade about it where it looks like natural shadows on my face. It's not too orange, it's not too ashy, it's just right where it needs to be, and I just love this product. My favorite bronzer in 2018 was this guy from Chanel. This is the Soleil Tan de Chanel, and it is like a cream bronzer. Like, it's not liquid, but it's not a powder, so it's a cream. Anyways, I still love this. I love the smell of it. I think it smells just so divine, and I could sit here and huff it all day. And I love how it blends out. I still really love this. There is another contender for top spot though this year, and that goes to Fenty. This is their Sunstalker bronzer in Into Sun, and I'm pretty sure that that's the lightest shade that they offer, and it works perfectly for my skin tone. It's still deep enough that it warms up my skin, it's still visible on my skin, but it's not so dark that it just takes a ton of effort to blend it away. It's not too cool, it's not too warm, there's no orange undertone to it, it just applies beautifully, and I love it. For blush, in 2018, my favorite blush was MAC's Melba. Again, I still like it. All of these favorites I still like. There's nothing that I dislike. However, there are some that have been replaced. For example, blush, Patrick Ta. This is the Monochrome Moment Velvet Blush in She's Passionate, and it's just this really beautiful corally kind of pink. I really like this blush, and I know I talked about it recently in a previous video, but what I really like about it is that it's subtle. Like, if you have a deeper skin tone, I mean, they do have deeper options. He has deeper options in his range. If you like a really strong blush, you're probably going to be disappointed by this one, but it is buildable. I am wearing it today. I love how natural it looks on the skin. I appreciate like the blush draping look on other people. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to pull that off, and anytime I've tried, I look ridiculous. It's like scarves. I know Smoky Glow recently did a whole like discussion about scarves during one of her videos, but I felt that in my soul. I cannot do like fashion scarves. Like, I can't do it. They look ridiculous on me. It always just looks stupid. Same with like really bright and obvious blushes. I just can't pull that look off. That's what I love about this one. So, I mean, it's not to say that it's not pigmented, it's just that it's more lightly pigmented, and then you build it up from there. And I just think it looks really natural and beautiful on the skin, and it's risen to the top of my favorites. My favorite highlighter from 2018 was the MAC Soft and Gentle highlighter. This year I discovered two new products. One is from Annabelle. It is their Enlighten Highlight Drops. It is a liquid highlighter. I typically don't gravitate towards liquid highlighters, but this one I love. It blends out so nicely, but it still shows through after I've put powder products over my face. So if I do this after foundation and then set my face, it still peeks through. It's not glittery at all, but it's just like provides this beautiful sort of lit from within kind of glow, and I love it. I talk about it all the time. The other highlighter that I am in love with this year should also come as no surprise, and it is Cookie from Benefit. It's just so pretty. It's the highlighter that I'm wearing today. It's so impactful, and yet it blends out nicely so that it's not like a glaring stripe of glitteriness or anything like that on the face. I just think it's so beautiful. I love the formula of it. I hate the packaging of it, but it is Benefit. That seems to be their shtick, or these little box things. I don't predict any changes to that anytime soon, but if you could put a highlighter like this in a compact like this, my God, I'd be down for that. Take note, Benefit. Pretty please. Moving on. So then we move into favorite palettes. I have one or two, or like 8. So last year, my favorite palettes, I had the ColourPop Good Sport, Jeffree Star Thirsty, Jeffree Star Blood Sugar, Natasha Denona Cranberry, Natasha Denona Gold, Ace Beauty Paradise Fallen, ABH Sultry. It's a lot of palettes. I'm probably going to list as many this year. So a little bit less with the Natasha Denona this year, but one certainly did make my favorites list, and that is the Mini Gold. This, again, should come as no surprise. I mean, I even included it in my recent giveaway because I think it's so stinking good. I just love it. The ABH Sultry still makes it onto my favorites list for this year. I just think it's so beautiful. Every time I talk about this, I say the same thing. When I first saw it, I thought it was super boring, and then I swatched it in stores and was like, well, clearly I need you in my life. And I really did. It's not a wildly diverse palette, and yet I still think that you can get a good number of looks in here that range from the more warm side to the cool side. You could have like a soft glam look with this, or you can go deep and dark and then use that bright silver here and have like a really dramatic kind of eye look going on. It's just any eye look that I have made with this palette, I have never been disappointed by. I love it. I think it's just so fantastic. I recently posted a dedicated video to the new Melt Cosmetics Amore Eterno collection, and both of those palettes have to make my favorites list. This collection that's the Morte palette. This collection just really re-inspired my love of makeup and the passion that I feel for it. This is the Vita palette. I think because the collection was so well thought out, the packaging is so beautiful, the color stories are gorgeous, the products themselves perform beautifully, but I just think all of those things combined, I was so excited for this release. Like I was just so excited. And I think in a world today where there are releases every like 72 seconds or so it feels, it's hard to get really excited about things. There's a lot of items that I'll see them on Trend Mood, or I'll talk about them in a new release video, and then like they're instantly out of my head and I don't even think about them. Or I'll be initially curious and intrigued by an item, and then I'll wait a few days and then I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever, I can live without it. This collection though, as soon as I saw the teaser pics for it on Trend Mood, I was like, when is it coming? When is it coming? Like, I stopped short of like actually creating a reminder on my phone, but I thought about it because I didn't want to miss out on it. I just was so excited. I don't know how else to verbalize that, but I thought the whole concept was brilliant. Obviously the packaging I am a huge fan of. The color stories were different yet still wearable somehow, and I'm so delighted with this collection, and I'm so glad that I picked up the items that I did pick up. A palette that I'm actually kind of surprised I'm including in this list, but here we are, is the Tartelette in Bloom. So if you'll recall, I did try to do a Pan That Palette challenge, and then I gave up in about August of this year, and then just never updated again. Although I did update in a live stream, but not everybody watches those. So I may as well show it to you now. I did hit pan in 6 out of the 12 shades, so I feel good about that. But the good thing about doing panning projects is that you really dedicate yourself to using these products, and therefore you really get to learn what you like and what you don't like. And in sort of forcing myself to use these for at least most of the year at any rate, I have really gained an appreciation for this palette. Just in its like simplicity. Like it's just, It's one of those palettes that I can reach for when I'm getting ready for work. I don't need to put a ton of thought into the pairing of shadows and how I'm going to use them and all that kind of thing. The mattes apply, they blend out nicely, there's good pigmentation. I don't have to spend forever building everything up. There's two dud shadows in here for me, but this like shimmery shadow over here is beautiful. The other two shimmers I could really live without, but this one pairs nicely with any of the other colors. I feel like when you look at this, there is sort of a more neutral option. There's a cooler row, there's a warmer row. You can really just pick and choose depending on what other makeup you're wearing or what your clothes are or just how you're feeling. So I really think that this is a very intelligently laid out palette. I just don't really like those two shades. And it's simply because they're like sort of metallic, but not metallic enough. If they kind of boosted that like foiledness of them, I would be very much happier. But that's my minor complaint about this palette at this point. Now, my favorites list would not be complete without talking about Clionadh Cosmetics. So not necessarily palette per se, although this magnetic case, fucking stellar, so gorgeous. It's the shadows within that are just so incredibly beautiful. So what we have here, this is the Woodlands bundle, and then these are the stained glass shadows up here. I am wearing the shade Kiln all across my eyes here, and then I have some of like this shade here and then this one down here, sort of buffing out and blending out the edges. I don't even know what to say about these stained glass shadows. They are the bee's knees. Like, they're so incredibly beautiful. They're so, like, I'm speechless. Like, I'm speechless. I did a whole video on these and I'm still speechless. The, like, multi-chromes, they're stunning. This lighting does not do them justice. Like, it truly doesn't, because you just can't get the shift quite as nicely as you can in real life. Like, this one changes from gold to like an orangey coppery color to purple. It's just, it's mesmerizing. They are sublime. They're beautiful. And not to be outdone, their regular shadows as well are also gorgeous. The mattes are super soft, super blendable. The shimmers are absolutely like next level. They just like, I'm so excited to see what 2020 has in store for Clionadh Cosmetics, because I think like they've arrived. Like, every video I've watched recently talks about them in some manner, and I couldn't be happier. Like, the owners are just genuinely kind, thoughtful, amazing women, and I'm just so excited to see where they go this year. I'm so excited to see it. All right, so that's gonna move us on to eyeliner. And in 2018, my favorite liquid eyeliners were the Fenty Fly Liner and the Stila Stay All Day with the micro tip. With regards to pencil liners, it was the Urban Decay 24/7. Let's just put that one to bed right now because they remain my favorite. The 24/7 pencils just glide on, they never tug, they last a really long time, even in my waterline, and there's a million colors to choose from. They're top notch. In terms of liquid, I have two new favorites here. So one is the Clinique Pretty Easy Liner. The name says it all. It's just super easy to work with. So good. This is the liner that I have a backup of already. Not for the black, but for the brown. I use brown a lot when I want just more of a subtle look. So I have bought a backup for that one. It's a fantastic liner. Just full stop. This one, however, over here from ABH, I never hear anybody talk about this, and it is so, so good. It's just the perfect formula. Like, it dries matte, it dries relatively quickly, but not so quickly that you have issues applying it. Like I found with the Kat Von D tattoo liner in particular, and with the Stila Stay All Days that aren't the micro tip, like the regular ones, I also find that they just dry so quickly that as I'm trying to perfect the line or build it up, the tip like skips along, like it gets stuck to what's already put down and then it just gets jagged. This does not do that. It picks up a good amount of product. It doesn't feather, it doesn't bleed. I haven't had any issues with smudging or running or anything like that. I don't know why nobody is talking about it. ABH needs to come out with more colors in this liner because it is so good. Now we're on to mascara. So in 2018, my favorite mascaras were the Milk Makeup Kush Mascara as well as the L'Oreal Unlimited Mascara. I still like both of those, but these two, I now like more. So one is from Stila, it is the Huge Extreme Lash Mascara, and the other is Monsieur Big from Lancôme. And they both perform equally well, in my opinion. I have Monsieur Big on this eye, Stila on this eye. I don't think you can see any difference, but they're both volumizing, they're both lengthening. I find that they add a good amount of curl and hold that curl all day. Again, I don't have issues with them flaking. I don't have issues with them smudging. They're just very good mascaras, and I am happy to have both of them in my collection because I just rotate between the two, and I'm happy as a clam to do so. I did talk last year about my favorite lashes. Those were the Velour Effortless lashes. I still love the Velour Effortless lashes. I also love the Huda Beauty Easy Lash collection as well, particularly, I think it's number 16, the Camille style. They're sort of like half to 3/4 length lashes, as are the Velour ones. So I just find that they're easier to apply because I don't have to worry about the inner corner coming all the way in. And there's, again, a ton of styles to choose from both brands. The benefit to the Huda over the Velour is just the price point. Huda, I think, is going to run you about $10 to $12 less than the Velour. All right, and now we are on to lip products. So last year, the ones that I gave the nod to were the ColourPop Luxe lipstick, particularly the shade Foolish, the Fenty Gloss Bomb in Fenty Glow, the Shiseido Modern Matte Powder Lipstick, without a name, okay, the Charlotte Tilbury Matte Revolution, the Lancôme L'Absolu Lacquer, and the Fenty Liquid Lip Paint, the Stunna Lip Paint in Uncuffed. I have different ones to talk about this year. And in selecting them, I realized that they are all neutral and they're all roughly the same color, with the exception of one. That's not necessarily by design because I really am sort of more so about the formula of them than I am about the color. I didn't choose by color because that's just really hard to do. So I've chosen by formula. It's just that the formulas that I have, there's a fly in here, tend to be all in the same color. Life's funny. Okay, gloss. This one is from Pat McGrath and it is in the shade Flush Fantasy. I've talked about this one a bunch. You can see that I've used quite a bit of it. You can see some space in there already. It is one that I already know that I will repurchase when I do run out of this. It's just the perfect gloss formula in my opinion. Shiny, thick without being too thick, if that makes sense. Like, it's not runny, it doesn't just instantly disappear, but nor is it sticky or heavy on the lips. It's just a beautiful texture and fairly long lasting for being a gloss, and I appreciate that because I don't necessarily want to be topping up all the time. And this one is from Milani and it is their Ludicrous lip gloss. This shade in particular is 130 Teen Spirit. Looks almost identical to the Pat McGrath shade, although just a little bit deeper. Same kind of formula though, honestly. Again, it's not runny, it's not too heavy. It doesn't like gather in the corners of my lips. It doesn't create those little strings or anything that like gloss can be known to do. It's got a nice little spongy doe foot applicator. It smells a little bit like oranges, which is different, but not too heavy and not overpowering. It's a recent find for me, so my feelings may eventually change, but the times that I have worn it, I have really, really enjoyed it. I'm really pleased to see that Milani is coming out with new products because they're being very consistent with their releases and I want more. I want more from Milani. I'm really impressed by their line, especially like as a good staple drugstore option. I'm really impressed with their products. Back to the lipsticks. So in 2018, the Matte Revolution lipsticks from Charlotte Tilbury were on my list. They remained there this year. I did get a new color this year. This one is Pillow Talk, and it is just a slightly peachier kind of nude than what I have previously from her. But I really do like these lipsticks. They are, as the name would suggest, matte, but without being really like, they're not like the retro mattes from MAC where you kind of have to tug across your lips. It's not that feeling. There's a creaminess to these which makes them that much more wearable and that much more comfortable on the lips. And I just really like the formula of these. This one I did choose because of the shade and the finish. This is a cream sheen from MAC, and it is in the shade Modesty. And again, this is one of those lipstick shades that I have talked about in a multitude of videos. And it's just because it goes with everything. This is that kind of lipstick that I wear when I don't know what to pair with my eye look, because it flatters every eye look. It doesn't detract from anything, but it also doesn't give you like the concealer lips where it just kind of washes your lips out. It is like the very definition of a My Lips But Better kind of shade, for me at any rate. I briefly mentioned Michelle Wong earlier on, and I have to mention her again because she introduced me to these lipsticks. So this is from Chanel, and it is the Le Rouge Duo Ultra Tenue Gloss. Yeah. So it is a liquid lipstick on one end. The shade I have is Sweet Berry. So it's a liquid lipstick with like a little doe foot applicator here. You apply that, let it dry down a bit. It gets very, very sticky. And then what you do to alleviate that stickiness is you go in with the gloss end and apply the gloss on top of it. Once you apply that gloss, it's like transfer proof. Like the gloss will transfer, but not color. Does that make sense? Like the gloss, obviously it's a gloss. It's going to transfer if you touch it against something, but the color stays on your lips. And then it stays and it stays and it stays. So I don't know what order I'm going to be posting videos, but I just edited my go-to court makeup, and I was talking about looking for products that have longevity when I'm picking a lipstick to wear to court. And I didn't mention this one, but I should have, because this is one that I have worn to court on numerous occasions, and it never lets me down. Finally, I want to talk about the lipstick that I am wearing right now, and this is one of the lipsticks from Lisa Eldridge. This is in the shade Velvet Muse, and I have to thank my lovely subscriber Mary for sending this to me. I mean, she sent me 2 of them. It's incredibly, incredibly generous, and I just want to take a side note to let you guys know, like, I've received these lipsticks from her. I know she's donated to my channel before, which is also just so appreciated. I had another subscriber, Lee, send me a calendar, which was an absolutely hilarious calendar. Like, it's to know that, like, to know, particularly in the case of Lee, like, she went to the store, she saw the calendar, she thought of me. That's, like, I don't take that for granted. That is amazing. That's the coolest thing. And then Mary with these lipsticks, just, I initially said no, because I was like, no, that's too generous. And she really wanted to do it and said that it would make her happy. And like the happiness just compounded on my end because I love this lipstick and I just love the meaning and the thought behind it as well. So I don't take you guys for granted, and I just want you to know that. And whether you send me items or you don't, that's not what I base my gratitude on. It's just that you show up and you watch these videos and you're kind in your comments and you're kind to each other in the comments and you join me on my lives and the premieres and you tag me in things and you send me DMs and you tweet at me, and it's so stinking incredible, and I'm so grateful. So Mary, thank you so much for this, and I love it. Again, a matte finish. These are just stunning, stunning lipsticks. They literally do look like velvet, just the way that the bullet is. They're smooth, they're creamy, they apply so nicely. They're not drying. They're not necessarily as creamy as the Charlotte Tilbury, but they're definitely not uncomfortable on the lips at all. I even love the packaging of it. Like, it's just so classy looking and classic looking. It's minimalist yet beautiful with this nice like brushed gold kind of color. It has a really strong magnetic closure to it. So if I throw it in my purse, I know the lid's not going to come off, and like all the goldfish cracker crumbs that live in my purse aren't going to work their way into the lipstick. I just am so very happy with it. So I'm so grateful to have received it, and thank you once again. And that's it, guys. We did it. We compared my 2018 and my 2019 favorites. I really enjoyed doing this, like just seeing what I liked last year, seeing what I liked this year. I really feel like makeup is always sort of an evolution in terms of what it is that you like, and I'm always discovering what works best for me versus what I think is going to work for me or what I think I should be using. And I really like this idea of checking in with myself and seeing where my tastes have changed. It's just interesting. So I hope you guys found it interesting as well. I would love to hear from you down below what some of your favorite items were from 2019, or compare them to what your favorites were from 2018. Whatever you want to do, just put something down in the comments, even if it's a duck emoji. I'm okay with that. Just let me know you watched, please. Alright, sorry, not to be needy. That is going to wrap it up here, guys. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch, because I suspect this is going to be a long one. And I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.